was emotion. This was the feeling of seeing a Filipino tennis star walk onto one of the most historic stages in sports and carry the hopes of millions with her. Every serve, every return, every fist pump, every moment of composure on grass felt personal to the people watching from Manila, from Cebu, from Davao, from overseas Filipino communities, and from every small living room where fans stayed awake just to follow her journey. That is why the ticket price conversation hit so hard. Because when fans see numbers crashing after Alex is no longer part of the spotlight, they do not only see market movement, they see proof of energy. They see proof that her name created buzz. They see proof that her story brought people in, made them care, and gave Wimbledon a different kind of emotional charge. And that is the real story here. Alex Eala may have exited Wimbledon, but the reaction around her shows that she has already changed the temperature of the conversation. She is no longer just a young player trying to earn attention. She is becoming a player whose presence can move emotions, spark debate, and make people talk about tennis in places where tennis has not always been the loudest sport. That matters. Wimbledon is not an ordinary tournament. It is tradition. It is white clothing, green grass, quiet tension, royal boxes, historic courts, and pressure that can feel heavier than anywhere else in the tennis world. On grass, the ball stays low. Points can move quickly. Footwork has to be sharp. Serve placement becomes even more important. A single loose service game can change the entire feeling of a match. For a rising player like Alex, every moment at Wimbledon becomes a lesson in timing, patience, and mental control. And this is where her journey becomes interesting. A loss at Wimbledon can hurt. Of course it can. For fans, it feels painful because they dream with her. They imagine the next round. They imagine the upset. They imagine the headlines. They imagine the Philippines standing proudly on the world tennis map. But for a player, a loss can also become data. It shows what must improve. It exposes what needs to be stronger. It teaches what pressure feels like when the world is watching. For Alex, the next step is not about pretending the loss did not happen. It is about using it. It is about studying the serve patterns, the returns under pressure, the transition from baseline to net, the way points develop on grass, and the moments where she can control rhythm instead of reacting to it. Her left-handed game gives her a natural advantage when used well. A lefty serve can pull opponents wide. Her angles can open the court. Her aggressive baseline play can force uncomfortable replies. But at this level, every opponent studies those patterns. They know where pressure can be applied. They know when to attack the second serve. They know how to test movement on grass. They know that young stars must prove themselves again and again. That is the hardest part of becoming a serious WTA player. It is not enough to surprise people once. The tour adjusts. Opponents prepare. Pressure grows. Expectations rise. And Alex is now entering that difficult, important stage of her career, where the tennis world starts to ask a different question. Not, who is she? But how far can she really go? That is a good problem to have, because only players with real potential face that kind of scrutiny. Only players who create emotion get talked about after they lose. Only players who matter can spark a conversation where fans connect ticket demand, crowd energy, national pride, and the future of a sport in one country. For the Philippines, Alex Eala represents something rare. She is not just playing for ranking points or prize money. She is carrying visibility. She is showing young Filipino athletes that tennis can be part of their dream too. She is proving that a player from the Philippines can walk into Grand Slam environments and belong there. And that is why Filipino supporters react so strongly. They are not only cheering for a forehand winner, they are cheering for possibility. They are cheering for a door opening. They are cheering because every Alex Eala match feels like the Philippines getting a little louder on the global sports stage. Still, the story must stay honest. A ticket price drop, whether from viral resale screenshots, fan comparisons, or online listings, does not automatically prove everything. Tennis markets are complicated. Wimbledon demand is shaped by many players and many factors. But the emotional reaction is real. The shock from fans is real. The debate is real. And the feeling that Alex Eala brought something special to Wimbledon is very real. That is what makes this moment powerful. Because sometimes the biggest sign of impact is not only winning. Sometimes it is what happens after you leave. Do people stop talking? Do they move on? Or do they keep asking what your absence changed? With Alex Eala, the conversation did not disappear. It grew louder. And that should tell us something. Her Wimbledon exit may feel like a setback today, but in a bigger story, it could become one of those chapters that builds the next version of her. Stronger.